Anybody recognize this man? Not too many people. They've been very fair, actually, for the last 3 days.
President Trump, are you going to have a green light for another attack in Iraq?
Go ahead. As quickly as we can, but there has to be a disarmament. You know that we have to disarm with Hamas. So one of the things we'll talk about certainly, but there has to be a disarming of Hamas. Otherwise, very quickly. Yeah. A very tough issue, but one that I think will get resolved. Yeah, please.
We are receiving some mixed signals coming from Moscow, even after this talk. Can you assure us that you have received written or any formal response from them?
Well, what was the issue? You have to tell me. What did they say?
They are telling that Ukraine has to give up Donbass. Just very recent statement.
Well, that's what they've been asking for, and there's a dispute about that. So they're going to have to iron that out. That's an issue they have to iron out. But I think it's moving in the right direction. If something doesn't happen, you mean if something doesn't happen? Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. You're going to finish your question. Well, we'll see. Look, we'll see. But I don't want to talk about that because I think we're getting pretty close. Yes, please.
May I ask the President of Ukraine
Please.
about territorial question? Mr. President, what is your take on Donbass status? Are you prepared to see it as a free economic order in Israel?
No, we spoke about 20 points plan, and I'm happy that really our team's very close to results. And I agree with President Trump that our teams work not one day.
Well, thank you very much. We had a terrific meeting. We discussed a lot of things. As you know, I had an excellent phone call with President Putin that lasted for over 2 hours. We discussed a lot of points, and I do think we're getting a lot closer, maybe very close. The President and I just spoke to the European leaders. They were President Emmanuel Macron of France, President Alexander Stubb of the Republic of Finland, President Karol Nawrocki of the Republic of Poland, Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Store of the Kingdom of Norway, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni of the Italian Republic, Prime Minister Keir Starmer of the United Kingdom of Britain and Northern Ireland, Chancellor Friedrich Merz, the Federal Republic of Germany, Secretary General Mark Rutte, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, President Ursula von der Leyen of the European Commission. We spoke to all of those great leaders. They're all great leaders. And we had a great talk with them after we were completed. We thought it was appropriate to speak with them. And our meeting was excellent. We covered, somebody would say 95%. I don't know what percent, but we have made a lot of progress on ending that war, which is really certainly the most deadly war since World War II, probably the biggest war since World War II. And I want to thank Steve Witkoff, who's here, and I'd like to thank Jared, who's here someplace. Thank you, Jared. And thank you, Steve. What a great job you've done. Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff. And Marco Rubio is here. Thank you, Marco. And Pete Hegseth is here. Those two people are doing an unbelievable job. And the four people on this one are doing, I don't think anybody could do it. And we'll see if it gets done, but it's very close, certainly. Nobody would even have a chance of getting it to where it is right now. Nobody would have thought that was possible. So I just want to say we've done very well. We've had discussions on just about every subject, and that includes with President Putin before. And we went into great detail, and we likewise went into great detail today. And it was an honor to have you at Mar-a-Lago and have lunch. I hope you enjoyed the food. Your people enjoyed the food, I can tell you that. You're big, strong people. Your general over there looks like central casting. I want to also, by the way, speaking of generals, we have a great general, General Raisin Kane, who is here someplace. Thank you, General. Thank you very much. He's great. So, Mr. President, maybe you want to say a few words, and then we'll speak over the next couple of weeks. We'll speak probably quite a bit, but we'll speak tomorrow. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything. Dear colleagues, first of all, I would like to thank President Trump for a great meeting at this amazing place in his home in Mar-a-Lago. And we had a really great discussions on all the topics, and we appreciate the progress that was made by American and Ukrainian teams in these recent weeks. Special thanks to Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, and thank you to for their engagement and full commitment, and also to our team, and first of all to Rustem Umerov and General Gnatov, and to all our teams. And we discussed all the aspects of the peace framework, which includes, and we have a great achievements, 20-point peace plan, 90% agreed, and U.S.-Ukraine security guarantees 100% agreed. U.S.-Europe-Ukraine security guarantees almost agreed. Military dimension 100% agreed. Prosperity plan being finalized, and we also discussed the sequencing of the following actions. And we agree that security guarantees is a key milestone in achieving lasting peace, and our teams will continue working on all aspects. We also had a joint productive call with European leaders, like President Trump said already, and a lot of leaders, including NATO and EU. And we agreed that our teams will meet in upcoming weeks to finalize all discussed matters. And we agreed with President Trump that he will host us, and maybe in Washington, European leaders and Ukrainian delegation, yes, in January. And Ukraine is ready for peace. And once again, would like to thank President Trump for a warm welcome and substantial discussion. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Any questions, please?
The first time visits from President Zelensky, 90% and 100%. The U.S. Ukraine security guarantees. What number are we at right now?
Well, I think look, you can say 95%, but I don't like to say percentages. I just think we're doing very well. We could be very close. There are one or two very thorny issues, very tough issues, but I think we're doing very well. We made a lot of progress today, but really we've made it over the last month. This is not a one-day process deal. This is very complicated stuff, but I think when the president says 95, I think, could be close to 95%. Yeah, please, and behind you.
Mr. President, have you agreed on the so-called free trade zone on Donbass? How to separate the sites? How to make the separation line? Who will be responsible?
The word agreed is too strong. I would say not agreed, but we're getting closer to an agreement on that, and that's a big issue. Certainly, that's one of the big issues, and I think we're closer than we were. Probably it's unresolved, but it's getting a lot closer. That's a very tough issue, but one that I think will get resolved. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, we are receiving some mixed signals coming from Moscow, even after this talk. Can you assure us that you have received written or any formal response from them?
Well, what was the issue? You have to tell me. What did they say?
They are telling that Ukraine has to give up Donbass. Just very recent statement.
Well, that's what they've been asking for, and there's a dispute about that. So they're going to have to iron that out. That's an issue they have to iron out. But I think it's moving in the right direction.
Can you reject or delay the solution of peace agreement that you achieve?
If something doesn't happen, you mean if something doesn't happen? Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. You were going to finish your question. Well, we'll see. Look, we'll see. But I don't want to talk about that because I think we're getting pretty close. Yes, please.
May I ask the President of Ukraine
Please.
yes, about territorial question. Mr. President, what is your take on Donbas status? Are you prepared to see it as a free economic or demilitarized zone?
No, we spoke about 20 points plan, and I'm happy that really our teams very close to results. And I agree with President Trump that our teams work not one day and not one week, more than 1 month, beginning from Geneva, then 2 meetings in Miami, then we had Berlin, and now we have Mar-a-Lago. So this is a very difficult question. You know our position, so it's this we have to respect our law and our people, and we respect the territory which we control. And of course, our attitude is very clear. That's why President Trump said this is a very tough question, and of course we have with Russians different positions on it.
And have you discussed referendum about?
No, when we speak about referendum, we spoke that it's one of the key. We can have referendum on any kind of points of this plan. I said that we can use referendum like for the plan, or we cannot use referendum. It's one of the key. We can use, this possibility of Parliament to vote according to the law or to have referendum. It doesn't matter. This referendum, if the plan will be very difficult for our society, very difficult, of course our society has to choose and has to vote, because it's their land, the land not of one person, it's the land of our nation for a lot of generations.
They'll probably have to get their plan approved by Parliament or by referendum of the people. You would think that they want, I know they had a poll that it's 91% in favor of ending this war, so they want to end it like everybody wants. Russia wants it ended, everybody wants it ended, and we want it ended. I want it ended because I don't want to see so many people dying. We're losing massive numbers of people, the biggest by far since World War II. So we want to see it ended, absolutely.
President
Yes.
Trump, you said at the top that you plan to speak again tomorrow. Is that correct?
I might. It depends on what happens tomorrow. If there's an additional something to add, otherwise there's no reason to. We're in the process. Jared and Steve are working very hard to get something done, and if there's something that comes up, I'd speak, but otherwise I don't think there's any reason to.
In your mind, sir, what are the thorniest issues still unresolved after the?
Well, I think the land you're talking about, some of that land has been taken. Some of that land is maybe up for grabs, but it may be taken over the next period of a number of months. And you're better off making a deal now. Look, let me tell you, they have been very brave. They fought very hard and continue to fight very hard and do tremendous damage. But Russia would like to see it end, and Ukraine would like to see it. And I think it's time to end. And a lot of very brave people, a lot of people that are dead right now, unfortunately, because I've said, and nobody's disputed it, that if the election weren't rigged and stolen, 2020, you wouldn't have had this war. It would have never happened. And it didn't happen for 4 years. Never was even thought to happen. And I spoke with President Putin. I got along with him very well, despite the Russia hoax, which was a total hoax. He used to say, what is going on over there? But it was a total hoax, as he knew and as I knew. But I spoke to him, and we'd talk about Ukraine. I've said it before. It was the apple of his eye, but he wasn't going to do anything about it. He didn't do anything about it until I was gone, and then a lot of really bad statements were made by people, by a lot of people, I guess, but by a certain president that we had who was a disaster. Yes?
Do you anticipate going to Ukraine if you can get to an agreement? And I know
I'd
you
have no
said
problem
earlier-
with doing it. I have no problem with doing it. Don't anticipate it. Would like to get the deal done and not necessarily have to go. I've offered to go and speak to their parliament, and if that would help. I don't know if that would help. I think it would probably help, but I don't even know if that's.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, I know.
Always.
So I'm not sure that it would be really necessary, but if it would help save 25,000 lives a month or whatever it may be, I would certainly be willing to do that. Yeah, please. No, behind you. Where are you from?
From Ukraine.
Good, I had a feeling. Good.
How about Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant? Have you discussed this question?
On what?
Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant.
Yeah, we discussed that at length today. As you know, it's in pretty good shape. It can start up immediately, almost immediately. And it's one of the things I discussed with President Putin. And they were talking about the nuclear plant. That's probably the biggest in the world, just about the biggest anywhere in the world. Can you believe that? And President Putin's actually working with Ukraine on getting it open. He's been very good in that sense. He wants to see that open. And he hasn't hit it with missiles, hasn't hit it with anything. It's a big danger to do that for everybody. But they're working together to try and get it. It can open very quickly. It's in pretty good shape. And the people there have been there for years. The people there running it. You know, they have 5,000 people in that plant. Can you believe it? I learned that today. 5,000 people. It's the biggest plant of its kind in the world. And they're working together to get it open. They could maybe get it open quickly. That's a big step when he's not bombing that plant. It's a big step.
In the readout from Moscow, they talked about the creation of some working groups.
Yes.
That would be set. Can you tell us about what those working groups
Sure.
would entail? And also, if you wouldn't mind, what is the message that you will give to Putin when you speak to him after your meeting?
So
here?
the working group is going to be composed of Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, General Raisin Kane, Marco Rubio, and a few other people that we're going to be putting onto it. I think Pete Hegseth should be in that working group. He knows the territory very well. He's been fantastic at what he's doing. And they may add one or two people. And likewise, Ukraine's going to have some very good people that were at lunch today that enjoyed the lunch today a lot, more than they thought, right? But do you want to say who may be on your working group?
Yeah, we now, as I said, that we work with Steve and Jared. We worked our Rustem Umerov and also Deputy Minister Kislitsa and also General Ignatov, and they will continue work in this group. And of course, if we will go further, and I hope that really we will have decisions in January, as I said, about all these documents, 6 documents, and of course, we will continue work on this, so they know what to do. Yes.
And that working group, by the way, importantly, will also then be working with Russia, okay? Because to work with ourselves doesn't really solve much of a problem. So they'll be working with Russia. Yeah, please.
This morning you weren't a deadline guy. How long do you think it'll take to get this last little bit, as you say, finished? What are we talking
So
about?
if it went really well, you know, maybe a few weeks. And if it went poorly, longer. And if it went really poorly, it's not going to happen. That would be a shame. There's that chance also. You know, it's possible it doesn't happen. But, you know, in a few weeks we will know one way or the other, I think. But if it went really well, but it could also go poorly. I mean, you know, we could have something where one item that you're not thinking about as a big item breaks it up. Look, it's been a very difficult negotiation, very detailed. It's funny, I settled 8 wars. Some were going on for 35 years. And we got them settled in a couple of days. Some of them, one was going on for 37 years. I settled it in 1 day. But this is a very complex one.
What the bad
No, I think we'll get it done. I don't want to say when, but I think we're going to get it done. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, you in the past have suggested a trilateral meeting between both Presidents Putin and Zelensky. Is
Right.
that something that is also on the docket?
I see that happening, sure, at the right time. I saw a very interesting President Putin today. I mean, he wants to see it happen. He wants to see it. He told me very strongly. I believe him. Don't forget, we went through the Russia hoax together. And he'd call me, I'd call him, I'd say, can you believe the stuff that they're making up? And it turned out we were right. They made it all up. And despite that, we didn't get into wars and we didn't get into problems, but we weren't able to trade very much or any of that, which was a shame because, you know, a lot of success could have been had by trading with Russia. They have great land, great minerals and other things, and we have things that they want very badly. But the Russia hoax, which was a terrible made-up fictional thing by Crooked Hillary and by Adam Shifty Schiff and bad people, sick people, they made it up. It was all a made-up hoax. But it kept us really from dealing with Russia, kept Russia dealing, from dealing with us. So, but despite that, We get along, and I don't know. I think we're going to get there. I know him very well. I think we're going to get there.
Discuss any time, location, meeting place?
Yeah,
for
we're
potential
discussing a lot of things. No, look. I was on the phone with him for almost, I guess, 2.5 hours. They're just telling me now. It's a long time. We discussed a lot of things. We didn't talk about the weather. We weren't talking about what a beautiful day it is in Palm Beach, Florida. Yes.
Trump, President Zelensky mentioned maybe a meeting with European leaders back in Washington. Would that be in the next few weeks?
Well, in Washington or someplace, yeah. These leaders that I just read, these are great people. You know, they've spent a lot of money on helping Ukraine. And look, they're doing it for themselves also, meaning their country, because Ukraine's a very important country for them in particular. For us, it's very important. To me, it's the lives. You know, we're thousands and thousands of miles. We're protected by a thing called the Atlantic Ocean and lots of other places, to be honest. And they're not, you know, they're right there. But we're working together with them as we should be. But I'm doing it to save lives. You know, we're not spending any money. Biden gave $350 billion away. And the president was nice enough to give us a contract to take out rare earth and things. So we'll see how that all works out. We have a contract, but we appreciated that. He was very good. But we'll see how that works out. But if you think about it, we're going to have I really believe we're probably, Mr. President, by far closer than ever before with both parties. We had some times when he was close and President Putin wasn't. Then when President Putin was close and he wasn't. You saw that in the White House. But I think they both want to see it happen.
In your conversation with...
You're saying that you've said multiple times that you want to stop the killing. And nearly 100 American citizens died in Ukraine on the
Yeah.
What's your message to their families whose loved ones died fighting?
Well, look, I mean, the message is so obvious. It's what a shame. They died in a foreign country. And some are celebrated people. They're very celebrated. But so sad that a thing like that would happen. Yes, ma'am.
Obviously, security is a major issue for the Ukrainians.
Right.
Did you offer any promises, any assurances today?
Well, I did. We want to work with Europe, and Europe is going to take over a big part of it, as you can imagine. You know, they're right there. But we're going to help Europe 100%, like they'd help us. Yes, ma'am, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, when your conversation...
Who are you with?
Andrea Shalal with Reuters.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so in your conversation with President Putin, did you discuss what responsibility Russia will have for any kind of reconstruction of Ukraine post an agreement?
I did. They're going to be helping. Russia's going to be helping. Russia wants to see Ukraine succeed. Once, it sounds a little strange, but I was explaining to the president, President Putin was very generous in his feeling toward Ukraine succeeding, including supplying energy, electricity, and other things at very low prices. So a lot of good things came out of that call today. But they were in the works for 2 weeks with Steve and with Jared and Marco and everybody.
Did Russia agree, or did Putin agree to a ceasefire to allow a referendum to take place?
Not a ceasefire, and that's one of the points that we're working on right now. No, not a ceasefire. He feels that, look, you know, they're fighting and to stop, and then if they have to start again, which is a possibility, he doesn't want to be in that position. I understand that position. The president feels strongly about that or something, but I think we're finding ways that we can get around that. But I understand President Putin from that standpoint. You know, you have to understand the other side. And, you know, I'm on the side of peace. I'm on the side of stopping the war. So, but I think that's a problem that's going to get solved, yeah.
Would people who live outside of Ukrainians who fled during the war be allowed to participate in the referendum?
What do you mean, people where live?
The people that left.
Refugees
So
who fled to Poland and Germany.
You know, if we speak about the people who are abroad, who are not on the territory of Ukraine, you mean that in Poland, in Germany, we have millions of people. Yeah, they have a referendum in the same of elections. In the same way how people come and vote, they have rights for this. And of course they have to come. That's why if we will come to referendum, yes, if we will come to such decision, people need infrastructure for this, and it's not simple, and that's why we spoke about it. It can't be in one day, very quickly. It's difficult because we need infrastructure. When you have millions of people, you have to build it in Europe, mostly in Europe for today.
President Trump, I know you've sounded an optimistic note here, but what happens in a few weeks if things sputter? What are you prepared to do?
They keep fighting, and they keep dying. No good. But if things don't happen, they keep fighting, and they keep dying. And we don't want that to happen. He doesn't want it to happen. President Putin doesn't want it to happen either. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know. Was it a good lunch? Yes, sir. There's no lunch. He walked in. He said, "This place is gorgeous." I don't think he wants to go to the White House anymore. That's the problem.
I'm ready to go to the White House.
I know we are. It is. It is. The White House is a very special place, and so is this. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Does anybody recognize this man? Not too many people. They've been very fair, actually, for the last 3 days.
President Trump, are you going to have a green light for another attack in Iraq?
Go ahead. Go ahead. As quickly as we can, but there has to be a disarmament. You know that we have to disarm with Hamas. So one of the things we'll talk about certainly, but there has to be a disarming of Hamas. Otherwise, very quickly. Yeah.
Can you say more about the explosion in Venezuela that you mentioned in the radio interview? Did the military do that? Can you share more details about
Well, it doesn't matter, but there was a major explosion in the dock area where they load the boats up with drugs. They load the boats up with drugs, so we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement, and that is no longer around.
Is that the only strike that the U.S. has done?
I don't want to comment.
President Trump,
Yesterday there was an
explosion overnight, and the Russians say that Ukraine tried to hit the residence of President Putin. Do you have any information?
No, I don't know about it actually, and I don't. I just heard about it actually, but I don't know about it. That would be too bad. That would not be good.
What was the outcome of your telephone call with President Putin?
I had a very good talk this morning. I waited till this morning because it was pretty late by the time we finished, like 2:30 in Russia, 2:30 in the morning. We had a very good talk. We spoke at 8 o'clock in the morning our time, and it was a very productive talk. I mean, we have a few very thorny issues, as you can imagine. He knows about thorny issues probably better than anybody in the world, but it's working out. We have a couple of issues that we're going to get resolved, hopefully, and if we get them resolved, you're going to have peace. You're going to have Ukraine losing 26,000 soldiers a month. Can you believe it? A month, 26,000 young, beautiful soldiers, and plus some people in Kiev, and relatively small, but a lot, still people, and it's a lot of people. But 26,000 soldiers were killed last month. Yes, please.
President Trump, are you going to allow Turkish forces, or do you expect Turkish forces to be stationed in Gaza?
So I have a great relationship with President Erdogan, and we'll be talking about it. And if it's good, I think that's good. And a lot will be having to do with Bibi. We're going to be talking about that. But Turkey's been great, and he's been, excellent as far as I'm concerned. I don't know about you. To me, he's been very good.
Can you guarantee that?
Sure, please.
Mr. President, guarantees in the last
A little bit about your relationship with Prime Minister Netanyahu and how important it is for you to see him be pardoned by Israel's president.
Look, he's a wartime prime minister. He's done a phenomenal job. He's taken Israel through a very dangerous period of trauma. Israel, with other people, might not exist right now, if you want to know the truth. That's a pretty big statement, but it's true. I feel that. You had the wrong prime minister. Israel right now would not exist because they were met with a force, the likes of which very few countries could have handled. And we worked together, and we were extremely victorious, to put it mildly. Now I hear that Iran is trying to build up again, and if they are, we're going to have to knock them down. We'll knock them down. We'll knock the hell out of them. But hopefully that's not happening. I heard Iran wants to make a deal. If they want to make a deal, that's much smarter. You know, they could have made a deal the last time before we went through, you know, a big attack on them. And they decided not to make a deal. They wish they made that deal. So I think, again, they should make a deal. They want to make a deal, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Yeah, please.
Mr. Trump, Nadav Elimelech, I-24 News Israel. Would you support the overthrow of the Iranian regime?
Who?
Iranian regime.
I'm not going to talk about overthrow of a regime. They've got a lot of problems that are in. They have tremendous inflation. Their economy is bust. Their economy is no good. And I know that people aren't so happy, but don't forget, every time they have a riot or somebody forms a group, little or big, they start shooting people. You know, they kill people. And the people tend to... I've watched this for years. There's tremendous discontent. They form 100,000, 200,000 people. All of a sudden, people start getting shot. And that group disbands pretty quickly. So I've watched it for years. They're vicious, vicious people. Yeah.
Mr. President, will you support an attack, Israeli attack on Iran, if Iran will not have a deal? If Iran will continue with their ballistic missiles and also nuclear weapons?
If they will continue with the missiles, yes. The nuclear, fast. Okay? One will be yes, absolutely. The other was, we'll do it immediately.
Mr. President, one of us from Channel 12 News. What are your plans regarding Gaza for the next few weeks?
Well, we're going to be dealing on Gaza. That's why this very great prime minister is here right now. We're talking about Gaza. We're talking about a lot of things. We have about 5 major subjects that we're discussing, and Gaza will be one of those subjects.
Mr. President, can you guarantee that the last hostage on video will be released before we continue to the second phase of the Gaza plan?
Well, let's put it this way. Every hostage just about that's been released was released because of me, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, my whole team, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth. They were all released because of us. None were released in the Biden administration. None. They were all released because of us. Then we had a lack of releases with respect to the dead. And all of a sudden they started coming back because I said, nope, you said you were going to... We have one wonderful young man whose parents are right now inside. And he's, what beautiful parents, a beautiful brother, sister, and like a beautiful family, and they're waiting for their son. It's the only one left, and we're doing everything we can to get his body back. And the parents just said, hopefully he's alive. And I said, I love you to think that way. Okay? So we're doing everything we can.
President Trump,
But think of it. Out of all of these people, and I'm not just talking about the final 20.
Right.
Look at all of the people. What do you think the total number is?
255.
255.
254 came out, one more.
Think of that. And we got them all.
President Trump,
Nobody else got them.
President Trump, does the reconstruction of Gaza, President Trump, does the reconstruction of
Hold
Gaza,
on 1 second. Y'all do you. Just let her go. Go
does
ahead.
the reconstruction of Gaza will begin even before Hamas is disarmed?
I think it's going to begin pretty soon, yeah.
Before Hamas
He's looking forward to it, so am I. Look, what a mess. What a mess it is. And it's been a mess for centuries. Really. It's been a mess for a long time. It's seems to be born for that, but we're gonna straighten it out. No, we're already starting certain things. We're doing things for sanitary conditions and others. But Gaza's a tough place. You know the expression, it's a tough neighborhood. It's truly a tough neighborhood. Yeah, you had a question in the back? Go ahead. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Ask about the relationship between you and the Prime Minister.
What about it?
They said that there is no relationship, good relationship between you
I don't think it can be better. We just won a big war together. You know, if we didn't beat Iran, you wouldn't have had peace in the Middle East because nobody would have been able, the Arab countries who have been fantastic would not have been able to make a deal. If we didn't wipe out their nuclear, we wiped it out. If we didn't wipe out with our beautiful B-2 bombers, if we didn't, and we sent a lot of Tomahawks in there also, by the way, from a submarine.
What about the pardon that the President of Israel is giving the Prime Minister?
Pardon? I think he will. How do you not? He's a wartime prime minister who's a hero. How do you not give a pardon? You know, I think it's a very hard thing not to do it. I spoke to the president, and it's on. I mean, he tells me it's on its way. You can't do better than that, right? Please. Well, I don't want to say that. I know exactly who it was, but I don't want to say who it was. But you know, it was along the shore.
Mr. President, have you or anyone in your administration talked to Maduro in recent days?
Well, I spoke to him.
Recently?
Pretty recently. Reasonably, but nothing much comes of it. Yeah.
Mr. President, can you explain the importance?
You have to understand what he's done. They've sent billions of dollars of drugs in. But maybe just as bad, they've sent hundreds of thousands of people in from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions and insane asylums. The drug lords, the drug dealers were all sent into our country. But think of it, what he's done. Tren de Aragua, probably the worst gang. They cut off people's fingers. One man made a phone call to complain about them. He cut off their hand. They cut off his hand. Don't ever make a phone call again. We'll cut off your hand. After that, we'll kill you, they said. That was in Colorado. And now they sent in all of the bad ones. They sent in some bad people. And that to me was just terrible. And they send in drugs. Now, I will say this. 97% of the drugs coming in by sea stopped. We're trying to figure out who the other 3% are. They have a hard time getting people to pilot those boats. But 97% of the drugs coming in by the ocean, by the sea, by water, are gone. Every boat that we take out, we save 25,000 lives of Americans. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you. We're going to have a big meeting, and we'll see you in a couple of hours if you'd like. And if you'd like, you can come up and have lunch like you did yesterday. Would you like that or not? Do you want that? Because some of them think it's terrible. It's a bribe. But, you know, a bribe for $25, I don't know. If you'd like, you can go. And if you don't, you can stand in a driveway and melt. All right? But if you want, will you work on that, Margot? Is Margot doing a good job? She's a star. She's too nice. Her only problem is she's too nice to you. And you're not nice to us, but that's okay. Margot, take them up and have a beautiful lunch, and we'll see you later. Yeah, I don't like it. It's not good. I heard about it this morning. You know who told me about it? President Putin told me about it. Early in the morning, he said he was attacked. It's no good. It's no good. Don't forget, you know, the Tomahawks. I stopped the Tomahawks. I didn't want that. Because we're talking about, you know, it's a delicate period of time. This is not the right time. It's one thing to be offensive, because they were offensive. It's another thing to attack his house. It's not the right time to do any of that, and can't do it. And I learned about it from President Putin today. I was very angry about it. What? Well, it came out. Well, we'll find out. I mean, you're saying maybe the attack didn't take place. It's possible too, I guess. But President Putin told me this morning it did.
One question, Mr. President. Can you expound on the importance of a strong relationship with the State of Israel? And Mr. Prime Minister, you called President Trump the strongest friend for the State of Israel. You've worked with numerous administrations, numerous presidents. Can you expound on that? What makes President Trump such a strong friend for the State of Israel?
Why don't you go first?
I'll say it again and again and again. We've never had a friend like President Trump in the White House. It's not even close. And I think you can judge that by not merely by the frequency of our meetings, but by the content and the intensity. I think Israel is very blessed to have President Trump leading the United States, and I'll say leading the free world at this time. I think it's not merely Israel's great fortune, I think it's the world's great fortune.
Well, I just want to say that it's very important who the Prime Minister and President of Israel is. We have a great relationship. It was an honor to speak before your leaders. That was a great honor for me. I think it had not happened before, or something they told me. But the relationship's been extraordinary, and Bibi's a strong man. He can be very difficult on occasion, but you need a strong man. If you had a weak man, you wouldn't have Israel right now. Israel would have been, you know, Israel with most other leaders would not exist today. They would not exist. And now they're stronger than ever. Yeah, please.
Are you going to ask Netanyahu to sign an agreement with Syria?
Well, I hope he's going to get along with Syria, because the new president of Syria is working very hard to do a good job. He really is. I know he's a tough cookie, and he's, you know, you're not going to get a choir boy to lead Syria. That's the one thing I would say. So I hope they're going to get along, because, you know, I dropped the sanctions on Syria because otherwise they wouldn't have had a chance. We want to see Syria survive. So we're going to be talking about Syria too. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good time. Go have a good lunch. Thank you. Thank you.
There's a lot of tax credit.
You know, after you hear these things, I think better to quit now. Thank you.
Thank you.